Welcome to lecture on algebra and number theory. In this video, we shall see ring homomorphism and isomorphism. Ring homomorphism. You consider two rings R under the addition and multiplication defined using these two symbols, and S under the addition and multiplication using these two symbols. Then a function f from R to S is called a ring homomorphism if for each element A and B belonging to R, f preserves the additive operation, that is f of A plus B is equal to f of A plus f of B, and f also preserves the multiplicative operation, that is f of A dot B is equal to f of A dot f of B. So here you are considering two sets R and S, and you are defining a function from R to S which maps elements of R to elements of S. You take an element A, then correspondingly you will have f of A in S. Similarly for B, you will have an element f of B in S. Since R is a ring, you will have the element A plus B also in this set R, as R is closed under addition. And here also you will have f of A plus f of B in this set S, as S is a ring. This A plus B should be mapped to this element f of A plus f of B under this mapping F. Similarly, A dot B should be mapped to f of A dot f of B. Then only for each element, if this holds, for each pair of elements A and B, if these two condition holds, then F is said to be a ring homomorphism. If the function f is onto, then we say that S is a homomorphic image of R. That is, no element in S is left out unmapped. Every element has a pre-image, then we say F is onto, and so S is called a homomorphic image of R. We shall see some examples. Consider the rings integers under ordinary addition and multiplication, and integer modulo 6 under addition modulo 6 and multiplication modulo 6. Define the function f from z to z6 by f of x is equal to class x for all x belonging to capital Z. Note that for all x comma y belonging to Z, f of x plus y, this is ordinary addition, is given by the class x plus y. But in addition modulo 6, this class x plus y can be rewritten as class x plus class y. Here the operation is addition modulo 6. But class x is nothing but f of x and class y is nothing but f of y. Hence, we see that f of x plus y is equal to f of x plus f of y. Similarly, f of x dot y is nothing but class x dot y, which is equal to class into class y, which is equal to class f of x into f of y. Thus, f preserves the binary operations. Hence, f is a homomorphism. Let us see an example where a function defined from one set to another is not a homomorphism. Consider the rings z4 comma plus comma dot and z8 comma plus comma dot. Here the addition is addition modulo 4 and multiplication modulo 4. In Z4, the operations are addition modulo 4 and multiplication modulo 4, whereas in Z8, it is addition modulo 8 and it is multiplication modulo 8. Now, let us define f from Z4 to Z8 by f of x is equal to class x square, which means class x into x, which will be equal to class of x square for all x belonging to Z4. Note that for all x comma y belonging to Z, f of x into y is equal to x into y whole square, which is nothing but class x into class y whole square, that is class x square into class y square, which is equal to f of x into f of y. To view this numerically, we can note that the elements of Z4 are class 0, class 1, class 2 and class 3. Correspondingly, the mapped elements f of x in Z8 will be class 0 square 0, class 1 square, that is 1, class 2 square is 4, class 3 square is 9, that is equal to class 1 under addition under integer modulo 8. So the mapped elements are these only which exist in Z8. So we may manually verify that f of x dot y is 0 into 1 is 0 and the corresponding elements when multiplied also give the result 0. But for addition, you consider two elements, class 1 and class 2, belonging to Z4. You may note that f of class 1 plus class 2 is equal to class 1 plus class 2 whole square by the definition of f, and which is equal to class 3 whole square, which is 9, which is equal to 1. So class 1 plus class 2 when squared gives 1. But f of 1 plus f of class 2 is nothing but class 1 square plus class 2 square, which is equal to class 1 plus class 4, which is equal to class 5. You add 1 and 2, you get 3 whose square is 9, which is equal to 1. But when you add the corresponding elements image in Z8, you get 5, which is not equal to 1 in Z8. Hence, you may deduce that f is not a homomorphism. Next definition, ring isomorphism. As we have seen previously in groups, isomorphism is nothing but one-to-one onto homomorphism. Here also, we consider two rings R and S and a homomorphism F from R to S. This F is said to be an isomorphism if it is one-to-one function and onto function. The terms homomorphism and isomorphism come from the Greek, where morph refers to shape or structure and homo means similar, iso means identical or same. We shall see an example for isomorphism. Consider the rings, the set of all complex numbers under ordinary addition and multiplication, and M2, that is the set of all matrices of this form, where the leading diagonal has 2 by 2 matrices of the form, where this leading diagonal has elements A and the other elements are B and minus B, where these A, B are all real numbers under matrix multiplication and matrix addition. Define the function f from C to M2 by f of a plus ib is equal to this matrix AB minus B A. You may note that these elements A and B belongs to real number in complex form. You may note that the complex number A plus IB has its real part and imaginary part as real numbers. So this is a well-defined function. It can be verified that f is a one-to-one function and also onto function, so that we have collected only elements of this form in M2, so it will be an onto function. We can also verify that f is a ring homomorphism. So to verify whether it is a homomorphism, we have to check two conditions. F of you take two elements in C. I am taking A plus IB and C plus ID, where A, B, C, D are real numbers. By definition of addition in complex number, we had to add the real part separately and then imaginary part separately. So this is nothing but f of A plus C plus I into B plus D. So now you have another complex number. For this, f has been defined like this. It is a matrix whose leading diagonal or the real part A plus C, the real part you write in the leading diagonal, and the imaginary part here B plus D and minus of that imaginary part B plus D. So this is your f of A plus IB plus C plus ID. Now you find the images separately for each of these two complex numbers. So f of A plus IB, that is equal to or plus f of C plus ID. So f of A plus IB plus f of C plus ID will be, first for this, the matrix A in the leading diagonal and B in the opposite diagonal, plus for this C plus ID, F maps to C, D minus D, C. So now by the definition of addition for matrices, the corresponding entry should be added. So the first element is A plus C, second element is B plus D, and the first element in second row is minus B minus D, and the next element is A plus C. So we have found that f of A plus IB plus C plus ID is equal to f of A plus IB plus f of C plus ID. Similarly, you find f of A plus IB into C plus ID. That is, we have to verify whether the function f preserves both the additive operation and multiplication operation. So this is equal to f of, while multiplying two complex number, we will have the real part to be AC minus BD and plus the imaginary part to be A into D, the second one. So AD plus BC. So this is the normal multiplication of complex numbers. And after applying F, the result will be the real part in the leading diagonal. So we will have AC minus BD in the leading diagonal. of the matrix and the imaginary part in the opposite direction, AD plus BC and minus of AD plus BC. Similarly, you find f of A plus IB into f of C plus ID. So that will be equal to AB minus BA into CD minus DC. So that is equal to, while you are multiplying matrix, you have 2 by 2 matrices. First you take the first row and first column and then multiply, and first row second column likewise you go. So you see that the result is AC minus BD and here AD plus BC. And for the second row you have minus B into C. So minus BC minus A into D. So minus AD. Similarly here minus BD plus AC. Hence, comparing these two, you see that these two elements, the entries in these two matrices are equal, using the commutative property and distributive property in normal ordinary addition. You may see that these two matrices are equal since their entries are equal. So I have found that F preserves. We have seen that F preserves additive operation as well as multiplicative operation. That is f of A plus IB plus C plus ID is equal to f of A plus IB plus f of C plus ID, and f of A plus IB into C plus ID is equal to f of A plus IB into f of C plus ID. Hence F is a ring homomorphism, and also these can be verified. F is 1 to 1 and on to. Hence F is a ring homomorphism. Next we shall see theorem which gives some properties of homomorphism. Let F from R plus dot to S plus dot be a ring homomorphism. Then F preserves the additive identity, that is f of Zr is equal to Zs, where Zr and Zs are the zero elements of R and S respectively. F of minus A is equal to minus f of A, that is F preserves the additive identity. F of n times A is equal to n into f of A for all A belonging to R and n belonging to Z. Also f of A power n is equal to f of A whole power n for all A belonging to R and n belonging to Z plus, that is set of all positive integers. If A is a subring of R, then f of A is a subring of S. So we shall see the proof of these 5 subdivisions one by one. First one, we have to prove that F preserves additive identity. For that, consider this equation, f of Zr plus Zs. As Zs is the zero element in S, this is equal to f of Zr. We do not know about f of Zr, so we can write f of Zr plus Zs is equal to f of Zr. In R, Zr is the zero element, so this Zr can be replaced as Zr plus Z suffix R. Now as f is a homomorphism, this can be rewritten as f of Zr plus f of Zr. So when you are changing the operation, when you are using the elements in S, you have to use the additive operation in S. You have to be careful while you are using the notation for the operations. Now, we have written it together. Now you may note that f of zr appears on the left in both the sides. Hence, using the left cancellation law in S, we have Zs is equal to f of zr. So f preserves zero element. Now to prove that f of a is the additive inverse of f of minus a, we consider f of minus a plus f of a. As f is a homomorphism, this can be rewritten as f of minus a plus a. But this is equal to f of zr. This is using the inverse axiom in R. And f of zr is proved to be zs in the first part. Hence, this can be rewritten as zs. So, f of minus a plus f of a is equal to zs. Similarly, f of a plus f of minus a is also equal to zs. So, thus from these two we can say that f of minus a is the additive inverse of f of a. That is, f of minus a is equal to minus f of a. This minus represents that it is the additive inverse. Next we shall prove that f of na is equal to n into f of a. Here n is an integer, so we shall prove this using the method of induction, mathematical induction. First you shall verify that when n is equal to 0, this holds. So when n is equal to 0, na is nothing but 0 into any number, that is 1 times only, you are not at all using. So na is equal to zr. So f of na will be f of zr. Zr is nothing but zs. If it is zs, we can write it as 0 into f of a, where we are taken n is equal to 0. So this is equal to n into f of a. So for 0 it is true, and also for 1 also it holds. That is, left side also will have f of a, right side also will have f of a. Hence it is true for n is equal to 1. While you are proving using mathematical induction method, we shall prove the basis step and then we shall prove the inductive step. For inductive step, we have to assume that the statement is true for n equal to k, and you have to prove that it holds for n equal to k plus 1. So now we assume that equation 1 holds for n equal to k. That is, f of k is equal to k into f of a. Now we have to prove that f of k plus 1 into a is equal to k plus 1 into f of a. So for that you consider f of k plus 1 into a. So you can apply the distribution here. So k plus 1 into a can be written as ka plus a, which is equal to f of ka plus f of a, as f is a homomorphism. But f of ka is assumed to be k into f of a, so you can rewrite like this. So taking out f of a common, or k times f of a plus f of a is nothing but k plus 1 f of a. Therefore, you have found that f of k plus 1a is equal to k plus 1 into f of a. Hence, by mathematical induction, we have proved the inductive step also. Thus, equation 1 holds for all n greater than or equal to 0. So, for non-negative integers, we have proved. But what if the case if n is a negative number, negative integer? For that, first you shall assume that n is a positive integer and you shall prove it for minus n. We shall prove this same result for minus n, assuming n is a positive. For n greater than 0, we shall prove that f of na is the additive inverse of f of minus na. So the result follows automatically. So f of minus na plus f of na is nothing but f of n into minus a plus f of na. Here you can take n outside, as n is positive and we have proved this result. For positive n, you can take n out. So n into f of minus a plus n into f of a. Now take this n outside. So this is equal to n into f of minus a plus f of a. And since f is a homomorphism, you can write this n is, you can rewrite this as n into f of minus a plus a, and this is equal to n into f of zr, which is nothing but n into zs, which is equal to zs. So we have found that f of minus na plus f of na is equal to zs. Hence f of minus na is the additive inverse of f of na. That is, symbolically we write like this: f of minus na is equal to minus f of na for n greater than 0. Here it holds for negative numbers n, but this n can be taken outside, so this is f of minus na is equal to minus n into f of a. Hence we have proved this result for all integers n. For positive integer also we have proved f of na is equal to n into f of a. For negative integer minus n also we have proved this. So this holds for all integers. Similarly, we can prove that f of a power n is equal to f of a whole power n for all a belonging to R and n belonging to Z plus, that is positive integers. Similar to the proof of C, we can prove this also. Next, the last proof for this theorem. Given A is a subring of R, we have to prove that f of A is a subring of S. So A is a subring implies A must be non-empty, which implies f of A is also a non-empty subset of S. So to prove that f of A is a subring, we need to prove two conditions for a subring. First one, we have to take two elements in f of A. So here you are having f of A as a subset of S, which is we have obtained from the set R. The R has the set subset A, and this A only gives f of A. Now you take any two element x and y in f of A. We have to prove that x plus y also belong to f of A, x dot y also belongs to f of A, and then you have to prove the additive inverse of x belongs to f of A. Then only f of A will be a subring. So for any two elements in f of A, you will definitely have a corresponding element in A. So this A is mapped to x and B mapped to y. If f from R comma plus comma dot to S comma plus comma dot is a ring homomorphism from R on to S, where modulus of S is greater than 1, then if R has a unity UR, then f of UR is the unity of S. If R has a unity UR and A is a unit in R, then f of A is a unit in S, and f of A inverse is equal to f of A whole inverse. Here unity represents the multiplicative identity, and if A is a unit, then it has a multiplicative inverse A inverse. If R is commutative, then S is also commutative. If I is an ideal of R, then f of I is an ideal of S. Here the number of elements in S is given to be greater than 1. Since if S has only one element, then it will be additive identity only. So number of elements in S should be greater than 1. proof. First one, we have to prove that f of ur is the unity in S. So for that, take an arbitrary element x in S, then definitely we'll have some element a in R with x is equal to f of a. So x dot f of ur, you consider this x dot f of ur and you have to obtain it to be equal to x, so that f of ur will be the multiplicative identity. So you consider x into f of ur. X can be replaced by f of a. And now in both the term you are having f. So as f is a homomorphism, you can write like this, f of a into ur. But as ur is the unity in R, a into ur is nothing but e. So f of a into ur is equal to f of a. But f of a is nothing but x. So we have found that x into f of ur is equal to x. Similarly, we can prove that f of ur into x is also equal to x. Thus, f of ur is the unity of S. Next, we have to prove that if a is a unit in R, then f of a is a unit in S, and the inverse f of a inverse is equal to f of a whole inverse. So if a is a unit, a has a multiplicative inverse, a inverse. Consider f of a inverse dot f of a. This is equal to f of a inverse dot a, as f is a homomorphism. So a inverse into a is nothing but ur. So this is equal to f of ur. But f of ur is the unity in S. Similarly, you can prove that f of a into f of a inverse is equal to f of ur. So we have found that f of a is the multiplicative inverse of f of a inverse. Thus, f of a inverse is equal to f of a whole inverse. Next proof. If R is a commutative ring, then you have to prove that S is also commutative. A commutative ring is one in which the multiplication follows commutative law. So take two elements in S, then correspondingly we have two elements in R, such as A and B, with x is equal to f of A and y is equal to f of B. So now you multiply x and y. So x dot y is equal to f of A dot f of B. As f is a homomorphism, you can take it out. So this can be rewritten as f of A dot B. And since R is a commutative, this A dot B can be rewritten as B dot A. And again, since f is a homomorphism, this can be written as f of B dot f of A. That is nothing but y dot x. So for each element, for every pair of elements x comma y in S, we have seen that x dot y is equal to y dot x. Hence, S is a commutative ring. Next proof. If I is an ideal in R, we have to prove that f of I is an ideal in S. So as every ideal is a subring, ideal implies I is a subring of R. So f of I is a subring of S. This one we have proved just now, that if A is a subring, then f of A is a subring. So here I is a subring of R, then f of A is a subring of S. So if x comma y belong to f of I, then x minus y also belongs to f of I. To verify that f of I is an ideal, it remains to verify that if x belongs to f of I and s belongs to S, then x dot s and s dot x belongs to f of I. For that, you take two elements, x from f of I and s from capital S. As x belongs to f of I, x will be of the form f of a for some a belonging to I, and s will be of the form f of r for some r belonging to R. So now you consider x dot s. So s dot x will be f of r dot f of a. So as f is a homomorphism, this can be written as f of r dot a. But r dot a belongs to I, since I is ideal. Therefore, this belongs to f of I. That is, f of r dot a belongs to f of I. So s dot x belongs to f of I. Similarly, you can prove that x dot s also belongs to f of I. Hence, we have verified the conditions for an ideal. Thus, f of I is a ideal of S.